Good morning, participant, gentlemen, Professor Sandeep, Professor Balwinder, and others. Sorry for this slight glitch, because and I am very happy and glad that I am discussing some of the important issues with you concerning outcome-based accreditation. And I thank once again for inviting me. The session will be on design of learning outcomes and mapping. Now, let me add in the beginning, there will be some repetition, which I am doing intentionally with a view to emphasize certain things which are very important. Secondly, please ask questions whichever you like, because I would like that at the end of this session, you should be able to say, takeaway of this session will be what is meant by learning outcome. What is objective and learning outcome? How are they same or they are different? Then what is course outcome, program outcome, and program specific outcome? Bloom taxonomy and is used to write outcomes, COs and POs, COPO linkages and mapping, and COPO correlation matrices and attainment. You have already been exposed to a session on Bloom taxonomy. Now, Bloom taxonomy is very important because when I say student learning, then it implies knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior, and competency. Competency may be make the experiment, competency may be to take the readings, and so on, which the students have acquired while undergoing a course or program and are required to prove and demonstrate. Because in the outcome-based education framework, the emphasis on student learning, focus is on student learning, and student learning becomes important because whatever student does, he attends a lecture, he may attend a course, or he may attend a program, then outcome of this would mean what the student has learned, what the student has gained, and what he can demonstrate. Please appreciate here. It's important what he has learned and what he can demonstrate. Demonstration is a very important issue of this thing. See, student learning, normally when we are discussing, we have course level learning outcomes, course outcomes, program level learning outcome, that is program outcome. And you know, a program is for example, is a terminal degree like BTech, certificate or diploma or MTech. Now, components of outcomes are knowledge. When I say knowledge, what does it mean? This means what do students know? Skill, what can student do? Please appreciate your do. Then attitude and value. In outcome-based system, we emphasize not only the knowledge and skill, but also the student's attitude, student personality, student motivation, what he values, what he doesn't value. And then what kind of behavior student develop when he is a student, when he spends 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. He not only learns, he not only gains knowledge, but also what experience, what behavior he has for his classmates, for his teacher, for the other stakeholder in the institution. That means imbibing these qualities of knowledge, skill, and behavior are important. Not only this, also how he looks at the society. That means being a good citizen. And another very important is motoring and manual skills. Now, if we look at this, motoring means, for example, driving is all right, you know that, but when a student doing a lab work, when a student taking readings, maybe in the pharmacy, chemistry lab, or physics lab, or engineering lab. So the correct way of taking the readings and the precise way of using the instrument is also a skill. So we find here knowledge and skill, two components, but outcome-based education says learning will also concern the individual development and its development to being a caring member of the society. It's not an isolated thing. So whenever we design learning outcome, maybe course outcome or program outcome, whatever outcome we decide, this should have these 5 components reflected into what we are teaching, what we are assessing. The question is, why do we do these things? These have implications for qualifications. For example, curriculum design. In order that student learn these things and imbibes, then we have to design the curriculum accordingly. We have to look at what kind of qualifications he is looking for. Then what should be the relevant teaching and learning activities. See, in the traditional system, we are teacher delivers the lecture, student notes down, then there may be interaction, there may not be interaction. It's not mandatory. He passes the examination. But no, in the case of outcome-based education and concern focusing on student learning outcome, then what kind of teaching activities are relevant, what kind of learning activities are required, how the assessment is to be done, and how the quality of student learning is to be ensured. So that is the significance of defining learning outcomes. Now, you have been familiar with objective of a lecture. You have been familiar with objective. But here the important thing is outcome. Objective and outcome, they are different concepts. They have different significance in outcome-based education framework. Objective refers to the teaching intention, what we want to teach. That indicates what the teacher intends to teach or cover in a lecture or course or in a program. Examples are, for example, that today we will say to give student understanding of search method and concept of complexity. This is the objective of the teacher, to make students familiar with the software development models and their limitations, to discuss and explain Karnaugh map and their applications. Now please hear, these are the intentions of the teacher. आज हम ये पढ़ेंगे, आज हम, let us say we'll discuss Carnot cycle or like this. So, but when I say course outcome, then a detailed description of what a student must be able to do and demonstrate as the conclusion of the course. That will be the outcome. But difference between outcome and objective is very important for all of you to realize. Reason being, so far we have been emphasizing on objectives. We never, in fact, now since outcome-based accrediting adopted by NBA, most of us were not able to appreciate what does outcome would mean. Now, with the outcome-based education, the essential point is what we, as faculty, as institution, expect our students to learn. Please see here, it's the faculty which decides, it's the faculty which implement, it's the faculty which ensure that student learning is there. And that is expressed in the form of outcome. So outcomes are statements about anticipated achievement from student. They are more student-centered and describe what students should learn. Learning outcomes are what we hope for students to learn along the journey, along the college. And remember, please, these outcomes are measurable. That's very important. Objectives are not measurable. Outcomes are measurable. When I say outcomes are measurable, what does it mean? How can I define these things? So the way we define it is with the help of Bloom taxonomy. Now again, an important thing is, whatever course you have of any program, there must be many courses. So we say the outcomes which we are discussing with the students must be for every course. Let us say in engineering, there are 5 theory courses, 3 lab courses in every semester. So there must be what is the learning outcome of each one of these. So each course, it may be, for example, program on pharmacy, it could be on engineering, it could be on management and so on. So each course syllabus should include student learning outcomes and describe their knowledge, which means whatever syllabus you prepare for any course, for any let's say for any paper, it must have the specification what is to be learned. Course COs should be such that they help to achieve the program outcomes. Now, course outcome, since program outcomes, they are dependent on course outcome, so they are to be designed in such a way so that program outcomes are achieved. So program outcome depend on the level, that is whether it's certificate course, whether diploma course, graduate course, master, or even PhD program. So why should we write? What is the importance of this is when we write learning outcomes, we shift from teaching to learning. Now it's not a traditional style. Focus is on the learner rather than the teacher. Students will know exactly what they are expected to learn for each course and each lecture. Now please see here, we stated the objectives, right? But the student, when we say outcome, then student will be told that at the end of this lecture, you will demonstrate this thing. Student will know exactly how their learning will be assessed. Assessment method. The moment we define the outcomes, that is a knowledge or skill or attitude, the assessment techniques start changing. Examination is not the assessment technique applicable to all components of outcome. Students begin to take more responsibility for their own learning. And when they know what they're expected to do and demonstrate, they are much more motivated. Please see here, because we are making it clear to the student that after having learned this thing, you will demonstrate this thing. And the assessment will be on these lines. This will motivate the students to focus on them. For example, higher level thinking skills. Now, most of you will be knowing that in our case, the emphasis on mainly on the cognitive learning. That means when it comes to, and that too at the level of Bloom taxonomy we learned, at the level of remembering, understanding, or maybe applying. But when it comes to higher levels, our emphasis is not there. The moment we look at these things, then our focus becomes, I want to train my students in these kind of learning, in these kind of skills. So how do we make outcomes which are accessible, which are measurable? This is with the help of statements. Outcomes are specified in terms of statements. Statements that describe what students are expected to know and be able to do on completion of an educational activity. Now, please here is the important thing, that when I say I want student to learn like this, I want student to develop these skills, I want a student to demonstrate these things. If I want this for the student, then I must convey it to the student. And how do I convey it? I convey it by writing appropriate statements for what I expect from the students. When I prepare the statements, those statements are such that they convey to the student, they convey to everyone what is expected out of that, let's say, lecture or program. And statements are verifiable. Please see here. If I say, student, if I decide, student will be focusing more on the cognitive learning and prepare a statement, then those statements will be verified. How do we verify that? We verify this through assessment techniques. So always remember, the learning outcome that we prepare or you prepare for your course must be such that it can be measured, it is observable, and specific statement which clearly conveys to the student what he should be doing as a result of learning. So, how can I do these things? How can I write a measurable, how can I write an understandable learning outcome? Here comes the Bloom taxonomy. You have already been exposed to the essentials of Bloom taxonomy. I shall just quickly recall them so that I can use them to design the course outcomes and program outcomes. And also, see, cognitive, the mental process of knowing and understanding. Affective, the experience of feeling or emotion. Psychomotor, the relationship between cognitive function and physical movement. That is the manual thing. We want our student to acquire, develop these skills and competence. Now, for example, you have a lab. This is in professional courses like pharmacy and engineering, roughly 1/3 are the lab courses. So when 1/3 are approximately lab courses, and lab courses involves many things: collaboration, lab courses involve measurements, lab courses involve interpretation. So instead of saying what the student will know, let the student understand how these things are being done. So Bloom taxonomy provides a set of measurable works. Please appreciate measurable work to describe and classify observable knowledge, that is what knowledge, what skills, and so on. Measurable words are used to create learning outcome which can be measured. We indicate explicitly what the student must do in order to demonstrate learning. So here, when I say a learning outcome using the Bloom word, then there is a prescription like this. When I write a learning outcome, maybe course or program, whatever learning outcome, the outcome is an outcome. It may refer to a course, etc. The structure of a learning outcome has the following three components: action verbs, that is a Bloom verb, which indicate what student will be doing. Then learning statement, condition under which the performance is to occur. That means it should be conveyed to the student that when I am judging your performance, then under what conditions, what requirements, what assessment I should be using it. Broad criteria of assessment, acceptance criteria. Please appreciate these things. These are important because if I know what are how a learning outcome is prepared using Bloom taxonomy, then it will be easy to implement most of the essentials of outcome-based education framework. So action verb is the Bloom verb, activity to be performed, and criteria. This example, take an example, design a beam. Design a beam or design an experiment. Now design, it means what? Verb is there, noun is there, but it's not clear to the student. Design a beam under what condition, what type, under what constraints, is not clear. So we say this is a learning outcome, but it's a poor construction. It's not something which conveys what the student is should be doing and demonstrating. Then design a beam using Microsoft Excel design template. Now it may make more and more clarification. Design a beam, how? We say using Microsoft Excel design template, which means this is a learning outcome which is designed better, which is understandable to the student. It is understandable for the teacher what is success. It has verb, noun, and condition, but we can still go further. Design a beam using Microsoft Excel design template based on national standards. Now, please here, I have added the word national standards. आप पूछेंगे सर इसकी क्या जरूरत है? See, outcome-based education demand the student should learn being autonomous. You may not teach students national standard in the class, but by putting it as a part of the learning outcome, you have conveyed to the student that you will be assessed for this also. So when we say assess student, and we have not taught in the class, student will go and find himself. He is supposed to find these things. That's what is outcome-based education says. You teach students, along with teaching, make them independent learner also. You know, lifelong learning, I'll come to that also. So how do we do that? We do this by expressing these as a part of learning outcome. This learning outcome, I repeat, course level, program level, and so on. So learning outcome by adding a condition and standard. So this is just appreciate the structure of a learning outcome, because this will decide what teaching method is to be used, sorry, what assessment method is to be used, because in outcome-based education, there are relevant assessment methods, there are relevant teaching methods. Same assessment method is not applicable to all kinds of learning. But ठीक चल रहा है ना? Am I clearly? Hello?
Yes, sir. Perfectly audible, sir. Fine.
Okay, fine. I was just saying, checking it ठीक चल रहा है ना?
बिल्कुल, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Now let me give you another example. See why I am giving examples like poor, better, and best. The reason is again, please appreciate. We want to understand clearly what students should learn and demonstrate. You must have been observing when we give project to the students, many times we are not able to, many reasons, give them a clear instructions. Student doesn't know what is to be done, what is not to be done, how it should be done, under what conditions to be done. So that applies to the program at the learning outcome stage also. So we say, when I say take another example, I give you good example and better example. So students should be able to design a research proposal independently, right? Now, research proposal about what? What should include? It's not clear here. Better, students should be able to design research proposal independently to determine moisture in the air and carry out experimental implementation. Student is now clear what he has to do. Now, again, here, if you want to make it still better, then you can write design research proposal independently to determine moisture in the air and carry out experimental implementation and interpretation of the observation. Please, in second case, we didn't emphasize interpretation of the observation. He will implement it. Data लेके बच्चा आपके पास आ जाता है. Madam, sir, I have done this. हमने कहा experiment verify कर दिया, ठीक है. अब देखो, if I in my learning outcome include कि जो आपकी आपने एक्सपेरिमेंटल डेटा लिया है उसकी इंटरप्रिटेशन दो. अब इंटरप्रिटेशन क्या है? कुछ रीडिंग तो ऑफ होंगी, कुछ रीडिंग सही होंगी. Then student has to take a statistical average also. This he will be able to do only when student is conveyed specifically with the help of a learning outcome statement that you have to do this thing. The student is clear. The moment student is clear what's to be done, believe me, students are very intelligent entity. They will do it. Many of you may say that student तो क्लास में नहीं आते हैं. अब देखिए इसका अगर हम is a different topic we can discuss. Why will not come the class? Because नहीं, मुझे यहाँ मिलना क्या है? So idea of outcome based education arose when students were made aware कि आप जब ये कर लोगे, you will be able to learn this thing, you will be able to do this thing, this is your learning, your individual learning, and so on. That's why outcome based education has become popular, and learning outcome is the focus of that. So remember, a learning outcome is a measurable, observable, and specific statement that clearly indicates what a student should know and be able to do as a result of learning. So well-written learning outcome involve the following part: action verb, subject क्या करना है, किस level तक करना है, और condition of performance क्या. अब the condition of performance, see, these are things which are again dependent on what we are doing it. If I prepare a course learning outcome for a course at the diploma level and at the certificate level or at the BTech level, my form of the learning outcome will get more and more, let's say, at a higher level. We normally say these learning outcomes should be SMART. That is specific, what you want to do it, measurable, you should be able to achieve it, student should be able to be realistic and within time frame. So please remember this about this thing. Now we have a learning outcome cognitive. You have read that. Cognitive, we have 6 levels. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Now you have learned these things. This I am giving you just to demonstrate what are the verbs, action verbs, which are relevant to these things. This is for your information. Details you can always look on the internet, or these are common things. But the reason I am highlighting this is it is a choice of the proper verb. Now, when I say cognitive means brain. Cognitive means his mental abilities. See, so far we have been having remember, understand, apply at the lowest 3 levels. And most of the students are very good in remembering, understanding, and applying. Where does the difficulty come? Difficulty comes when students are made to analyze certain things, when students are made to evaluate certain things, when students are made to be creative, innovative. Now the issue is, how can I do it in the class? Please appreciate this thing. How can I do this thing? How can I build these inferences in my learning outcomes? So learning, that is taken, I start from the top. Create is the level. Use the verb, use the action verb, design, formulate, build, invent, create, and so on. These verbs send the signal to the student कि इसमें मुझे क्या learn करना है, मुझे क्या करना है. For example, student will be able to design an original homework problem dealing with the principle of conservation of energy. अब क्लास में लोग पढ़ाते थे conservation of energy, स्टूडेंट उसी को घर से याद करके आता है. Let us ask him, why not think differently? Why, when we say I use this verb design, the student gets a signal, sir or madam is encouraging me to do these things. So he starts thinking on those lines. See, remember, purpose of education and teaching is to encourage the student to think, to encourage the student to imbibe things. So when I say evaluate, second, fifth level, choose, support, relate, determine, defend. Please see here, I have put different color also, which I will use later on. So example of learning outcome evaluate will be, student will be able to determine whether using conservation of energy or conservation of momentum would be more appropriate for solving a dynamic problem. Please see here, we have conveyed the message to the student that you are to assess which is a better option. पहले में ऐसा नहीं था. Third में देखो, the verbs are classify, break down, categorize, and so on. Please appreciate these things. I am just introducing you that I am going to use these verbs in writing the learning outcomes. Similarly for apply and so on. Here is an example of a case study. I want to prepare course outcome. For example, let us say course first year computer organization architecture. So first of all, as I've given on the right side, syllabus has suppose these are the topics. You decided this is what students should learn within a period of, let us say, 30 or 40 lectures. These should be topics and so on. And you know that you are very efficient in designing a syllabus. Now design the syllabus in such a way and then express it. What is the student should be able to learn from this? Then I write it, when I write a outcome, then always use students will be able to. This is the future. Student will be able to. क्या कर सकता है? Let us say this is a sample case study, please. This is the example. Students of pharmacy may not be able to, appreciate the contents, but I will explain the highest level that this syllabus I have prepared course outcomes. And in course outcomes, it's a first year. What do you expect from a student? I have expectation of a student from a first year. I cannot, if they are naturally talented, creative, yes. But my emphasis would be that he gains knowledge, he learns how to apply, and he is able to understand. That is the first year. Please appreciate, when I am designing the course outcomes, it is relevant to the year I am taking. When I go the same thing to a third year or fourth year, then my course outcome for that syllabus will be emphasizing the higher levels of Bloom taxonomy. So the course outcome normally are 5 to 6. So you just write course outcomes, CO1, which is knowledge, Bloom taxonomy 1, CO2, explain. Now see, the identify is a knowledge, explain is a knowledge. If you look at these colored verbs, they are part of what I was discussing here. They are part of these verbs if you look at second column. So these verbs I have taken from these like this. So here I am using only up to third level apply. So I have taken those verbs. So describe the principle of memory management. See, And describe comes under what? It comes under knowledge. But compute, it comes under what? It comes under application. So now you should be able to see how what I want a student to be able to demonstrate, he should get expressed in these things. Now, similarly, I can prepare these for the second year, for the third year, for the fourth year, or even for the MTech. It's okay because student will be let us see here. It is the another example. Here I have taken CO2, which is evaluation. Now, to sum up, what you want your student to learn and demonstrate, build that into your course outcome, and then use the appropriate words from the Bloom taxonomy and formulate the sentence, what is to be done. That's well and good. This was okay. Till, maybe before the invention of internet, before the invention of digital courses, before the invention of cloud computing, before the invention of use of IT extensively in all disciplines, management, pharmacy, and engineering. So now, see, when I say programming, when I say identifying, when I say podcasting, when I say wiki building, and so on, these are the verbs which are not traditional verbs. So the experts have come out with what is known as Bloom digital taxonomy, and for the cognitive domain, the 6 domains: remembering, understanding, etc. These are the verbs which are using. Say analyzing, breakdown, contrasting, mind mapping, structuring, and surveying. So please appreciate, if you are preparing a course outcome for a internet-based course, or where there is extensive use of web, then these verbs will help you decide the level. Now see here, this is also interesting that 3 levels remembering is known as lower level thinking. Understanding, improved. Applying, better. As they go from remembering to creative, we say these are lower level thinking skills and higher level thinking skills. See, normally as a convention, there's no exact rule. As a convention, the lower 3 levels are categorized as, let's say, remembering, understanding, applying. They are categorized as lower order thinking skills, and analyzing, evaluating, and creating, they are categorized as higher level thinking skills. So here again, I will discuss later on that if you want your students to be imbibing higher level thinking skills, what kind of course outcome will be useful. So learning is classified into 3 domains. I have discussed with you knowledge and skills, cognitive. Next is the affective. Then is the psychomotor. See, I have seen in course outcome or a program outcome, it includes attitude and behavior. Outcome includes knowledge and skills. Outcome includes manual and physical skills. And Bloom prepared the 3 domains: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Let us take the example, so far a mathematics course. In mathematics course, it is highly intellect oriented. So we should be emphasizing more on using mathematical techniques, developing solving problem skills, and so on. Good. But let us go to the lab courses like pharmacy, engineering, or chemistry, or physics, where, as I mentioned earlier, roughly 30 to 35% are the lab component. When we have lab component, students will be learning there also. How do we incorporate lab learning outcome in our learning outcomes? How do we incorporate student behavior or student attitudes in his learning? That is effective. So cognitive domain for manual, for knowledge, affective domain for attitude and behavior, and manual. And this is what I mentioned in the beginning. The outcome will have these components. And please appreciate, there is a very scientific and very powerful background for all this. Then affective domain. I want a student to be good, if those of you who have seen the program outcome, I want a student to be a good team player. I want a student to have empathy. I want a student to imbibe ethics. I want a student to be a caring citizen. I want a student to be, let us say, contributing to the welfare of the society, where it gets reflected in the learning outcome. It gets reflected in the learning outcome when I use affective domain of Bloom. Now, like cognitive domain, affective domain has 5 levels: receiving, responding, valuing, and they have the corresponding verbs. For example, in receiving, the verbs are accept, attend, describe, explain, and so on. Now, when I have to build affective component, that means emotion component into my learning outcome, this will be very important for maybe philosophy courses. It will be important for the engineering courses also. For example, team player. How do I express that? I use that by using the affective domain verbs, which I've indicated here. You can just see that affective learning outcomes involve attitude, motivation, and values. The expression of these often involves statements of opinion, beliefs, or an assessment of worth, what worth it is. Please see, nowadays, value-based education has become extremely important. AICT emphasizes this. Our government of India emphasizes this. New education policy emphasizes value-based education. Now, value-based education gets imbibed, gets component into the outcome-based education in the affective domain. So affective domain, example affective domains are student, how do I write this thing? Student will demonstrate the ability to accept the need for professional ethical standards. Appreciate the need for confidentiality in the professional-client relationship. Display willingness to communicate well with the team members. Relate to participant in ethical and humane behavior. Resolve conflicting. There will be conflictors. The students are working on a project. There will be conflicting, negotiating techniques, conflict resolution, and those. So these are to be embedded in the course outcome or program outcome. I'll show you that also, and convey to the students and major. This will help us to embed education, value education component in our all program, maybe philosophy, maybe pharmacy, maybe management, and so on. The reason is, after all, when we are saying this thing, we are telling the student, you have to do this thing. And if the student wants to do this thing, we have to do it. So then we with the psychomotor domain. In psychomotor domain, now please see here, what psychomotor domain is very important. For example, in a diploma level course or a certificate level course, or where there are, let us say, courses regarding psychomotor domain concern human agility, endurance, कितनी मुश्किल में भी काम कर सकते हैं, strength, speed, कितनी flexibility, and precision, कितनी accuracy के साथ करते हैं. आप देखते होंगे आपके स्टूडेंट जो हैं, there is a range of experiment who does experiment very accurately. There are students who are very efficient in doing things, in nailing things, and so on. So psychomotor domains concerns these aspects of human being: agility, endurance, strength, speed, flexibility, and precision. How do I embed these in these? Please appreciate again. How do I embed these qualities in my learning outcome? So this again we do by keeping in mind that psychomotor domain involves coordination of brain and muscular activity. Let us understand these things, because if you understand these things, you will be able to write a very good set of course outcome or learning outcomes. So, example, car maneuvering into a tight parallel parking spot. Now, please, this is psychomotor. How many of us can do parallel parking? This is a learning. आप कहेंगे सर ये तो अपने आप आ जाता है, बिल्कुल अपने आप आ जाता है, लेकिन हर एक को उतना नहीं आता है. The purpose of education is to equip our individuals, student, to do things better and better, to learn better and better. Supposing a student becomes a good, let's say, car maneuvering in the college itself, आप स्टूडेंट करते हैं, मैं करता हूँ, मानता हूँ, लेकिन ये रेलेवेंस क्या है? इससे स्टूडेंट कितने स्टूडेंट कर सकते हैं? आप कैसे असेस करोगे? डिस्प्लेइंग कॉम्पिटेंस व्हाइल प्लेइंग द पियानो, यूजिंग सेंसिटिव इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स. आप देखिए आपके कितने सेंसिटिव इंस्ट्रूमेंट होते हैं, कितने एक्यूरेट बच्चे यूज कर सकते हैं. कंडक्टिंग एक्सपेरिमेंट्स एक्यूरेटली, कंस्ट्रक्ट scientific sketches of geological feature. Depending on the type of this thing, this is what is required. So here again, as we are in the cognitive domain, there are levels. Here in this case, there are 5 levels, and these 5 levels have the corresponding sample verbs, and then there are learning outcomes. Please appreciate, if you want a student to develop overall, then you have to look at the various verbs and so on. I'll just pass on with this. क्योंकि we are time factor थोड़ा होगा, but domains overlap. All these domains, psychomotor, affective, and cognitive, they overlap. Obviously, a human being has all the 3 components. Some may be having some may be having better than the other one. Psychomotor, let's say piano. Some people play very beautifully musical instruments. Some people are having take the observation with extreme accuracy, and so on. It's effective. So these domains are there in human being. Our goal through outcome-based education is to express them in the form of learning outcome. Now, domain predominance in various disciplines. Cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains are relevant to all our learning, but their relative role in some disciplines may be more than others. For instance, affective domain is one of the essential areas in the assessment of learning outcome of medical students, apart from the cognitive and psychomotor domains. Because जो medical student है, we expect them to be more having more empathy for the patients, having more understanding better psychology of the patients compared to maybe engineering student. Again, it depends. So please list other disciplines where the affective domain also plays an important role. Psychomotor domain is more important. In manual, in education where manual is important, psychomotor component will be important. So now in the present case, let's say psychology, pharmacy, or engineering, these all 3 are important. Only ratio, let us say, may be different depending upon what you want the student to learn. Please appreciate. That is how. So here is a summary of what Bloom taxonomy is of learning outcomes. So domains, cognitive, psychomotor, affective, then there are levels, then there are action verbs, and so on. So I call this as Bloom taxonomy toolkit to write the learning outcomes. Now, another very important thing, as I mentioned, that almost, I will say all the professional courses, they have the projects. And projects sometimes is a full semester project. That may be 6 months. It may be 1 year, depending on the course. So why do you do projects? आप कहते हैं अभी जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं, we did student ने project किया, हमने उसका वाइवा लिया, मार्क्स दिए, चला गया. No. Now, outcome-based education says we have to define the outcomes of our labs, outcomes of our projects. Now, 8-month project and 3-month projects, we have to define their outcomes. So outcomes, see, what do you expect from a student to work on a project? What do you expect? We know this thing. This is essential for faculty to know, because only then we can write the learning outcomes. To acquaint the student with essential equipment, depending on the type of project, experimental है क्या? To help students understand theory by observation and verifying concepts. If I want it, to help them improve their powers of reasoning by manipulating cause and effect relationship, developing communication and collaborative skills, have them go through research and design process. Please hear, this is what we want our students to be able, or these are our objectives. ये ऑब्जेक्टिव अचीव कैसे होंगे, स्टूडेंट को पता कैसे लगेगा? Skill, attitude, behavior are expected. Skill, attitude, and behavior attributes are expected to develop in the lab and project work. Learning outcomes written for these courses based on psychomotor and affective domain of Bloom taxonomy. These domains have their own action word, as we have seen that. Now, please see here. How many you are able to appreciate what are the learning outcomes? What are the learning objectives of lab courses? As I mentioned, lab courses are integral part of professional courses, roughly 1/3. Are you familiar with this? The lab courses, people soon become aware of instrumentation, preparing models, design, experiment and data analysis, learning from failure, extremely important. See, learning from failure, if a student is not able to experiment, does he copy? Does he goes and just fudges results? This is what happens. We know that. Now, outcome-based education says, and learning outcomes says that no, tell the student that what is learning from failure. Learning from failure imbibes the quality of being an entrepreneur. Learning from failure imbibes the quality of being more confident. Learning from failure helps the student to be being bold and be creative. Now, we don't appreciate, normally we don't appreciate or learn, implement these in our lab courses. So please appreciate, I would say this is something which you will find very useful when we are doing the mapping of course outcomes and program outcomes. Creativity, psychomotor, safety, these are the objective of the lab ethics, and so on. Now, see here, it includes cognitive, affective, and psychomotor learnings. Lab courses include the 3 learnings. That means the outcome learning that I make should reflect these. Now see here, learning domain, cognitive is instrumentation, models, experimentation, data analysis, and design. Affective and cognitive is learn from failure. Creativity, safety, communication, teamwork, ethics, they learn in the lab. Psychomotor, manipulation of apparatus, sensory awareness. Please see here, sensory awareness. Chemistry lab में कहीं पर बड़ी कई बार मान लीजिए शॉर्ट सर्किट, केमिस्ट्री लैब में कुछ let's say they are using chemicals, फिजिकल शॉर्ट सर्किटिंग हो गया. See, sensory awareness या किसी और कोर्स में like say in a pharmacy course or in other courses, this sensory awareness plays an important role. So this is again a part of sensory awareness is a manual. So generic, I'm saying this I will quickly pass through. Okay, instrumentation, work with instruments, modeling, assessing how good a theoretical model is, design, building, assessing a part of system, experimentation, analysis. Please, these are the course learning outcome. These are the objectives. Please see here. These are the objectives of the lab courses, right? And objectives are not measurable. Measurable are learning outcomes. And this is, I have prepared a sample of learning outcomes of lab courses. This is extremely important for everyone to be familiar with these things. So the creativity demonstrates a significant level of independent creativity in problem solving. Where does student learn problem solving? See, problem solving is not doing exercises which are at the end of the textbook. Problem solving may involve different inputs, may involve different situations, and so on. So these things, generic learning outcomes of the lab are important. Now, if we look at why major projects, we do major projects. I mentioned earlier, what are learning outcomes of major outcomes? Learning outcomes are student demonstrate knowledge in practice. These are the learning outcome. Critical thinking, analysis, and problem solving skills he develops here. Effective communication and dissemination of finding, formulation, apply systematic, deploy appropriate techniques, effective product management. These things a student learns when he is doing project. And they should be from the outcome of any project. The project may be theoretical, project may be experimental, project may be partly experimental, partly theoretical, and so all kind of projects. And these are the things that I'm sharing with you, that I expect these students, we expect a student to imbibe these abilities, to learn these abilities. Now, if we understand as a teacher, कि इस project में क्या ज़्यादा important है, इस project में कितने theory है, इस project में कितना ethical and so on. So then we can design those things. So Bhurinder, is it okay?
Yes sir, yes sir. Fine sir.
नहीं ठीक है ना?
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल ठीक है सर. Very fine sir. It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So now similarly you are learning outcome of physics laboratory, you have learning outcomes for the chemistry laboratory, you have learning outcomes for the, let's say, programming laboratory, you have learning outcomes for any course. Maybe now, since in physics course is part of all the program, almost all the program, may not be pharmacy, but you have any other one. So learning outcome for laboratory courses must be understood and prepared. So how we design the course formation process, course outcome. So now please see here. We have seen what are course outcomes, what is the structure of a course outcome, how we can prepare a course outcome which takes into consideration various learning domain of an individual, right? We have done that. Now, course is only a component of a program. As I say, in BTech, we have 5 theory every semester, 20. Let's say in 4 years, then we have 3 to 4 labs. So we have 30, 40 courses. We prepare the course outcomes. How do we prepare that? What is the goal? Now, please see here, these are concerning the course. I want my students to be, let us say, good human being. I want my student to be caring citizen. I want my student to be good discipline, knowledge. I want my student, all these things. How much we are able to achieve, that is a separate thing. But I want this. Who decides this thing? Now, let us now bring in NBA. See, in NBA, we decide for the complete program, what should be the total, complete, consolidated learning of the student after 3 years, after 4 years, and so on. That is what is called a program outcomes. Now, course syllabus is designed with a view to satisfy the program, and each course has a course outcomes which are there to help us to do what should be the complete consolidated learning of the student at the end of when he completes his program. So see, we start doing course outcome formation. We take the program outcomes, which are for the complete. Then we take the university syllabus. Then we look at what are the previous COs, if they are ready. If not, forget it. Then we design a coordinated committee. Then we review and so on. So this I am giving you an idea as how the course outcome formation should be carried out. Because course formation, course outcome is a fairly, let's say, it's a fairly complex and activity and involve a lot of collaboration, lot of teamwork among the faculty members. The program outcomes becomes the goal, and course outcomes are prepared keeping it in light. This thing, then we have some committees in the institution, and we have Bloom taxonomy. Each one of the faculty member understand the Bloom taxonomy, its significance, and they are forming a team and so on. This is just an overview of this. Now, you decide you want your student to be a higher level thinkers or lower level thinkers. What kind of things might you want student to be able to do at the end of your course or at the end of the course? You want student to be involved in lower order thinking skills, जैसे आपको knowledge comprehension है, or you want your student to be higher level thinkers, that be able to carry analysis, synthesis. Who does this? We, faculty members. Now please see here, this gives us a hint. Which institution will produce better higher level thinkers? Now, if our goal is to create higher level thinkers, then our syllabus has to be like that. Our course outcomes have to be like that. Our program outcomes have to be like that. So the Bloom taxonomy provides us a guideline where you want your student to be trained. Do you want them to be rote learners? जब मैंने गोटा मारा, इम्तिहान पास किया और जॉब मिलती है मिली कोई बात नहीं. Yeah, you want them to be a good, competent individuals. So this is where, please keep in mind, lower order thinking skills and higher order thinking. As let us take example of a 4-year program, like say pharmacy or BTech, then as we go along, our emphasis is that our curriculum and outcomes start putting more and more emphasis on higher order thinking skills. That means level 4, 5, 6, and so on. Now, this is how we have to do this thing. Now, another thing is suggested tips for learning outcome. Start with outcome with an action word which states the outcome clearly. But please keep in mind, don't use the verbs like appreciate, realize, memorize, feel. Because can I measure what is meant by see? Please examine. Can I say what is examine? So these are action avoid verbs which we ourselves are not clear. We can comprehend this, recognize the importance of this. What does it mean? Realize how to carry out these observations. Now, what does it mean by this? So here there are certain verbs which should be avoided, but we use it very frequently. I'm sure after this lecture you'll be able to appreciate this thing. Now, as we go along the higher level, then incorporate a mixture of lower order and higher order thinking in your course outcomes. Now, this is how the course outcomes help us define the program outcomes. And no, program outcomes were defined by maybe certain academic agency or by the university using what are known as graduate attributes. So program outcomes describe what student will be able to do at the completion of the program, integrate skills and knowledge. They should be critical, they should help to imbibe critical and broad thinking. Now, so this is what consolidation is. Now the using Bloom taxonomy action word for writing POs. Please see here now. POs are consolidated 3-year, 4-year, 2 years. For this purpose, every institution defines graduate attributes. Graduate attributes means what qualities we want our students should have in terms of knowledge, in terms of attitude. This is the institution decide, or some accreditation agency decides. If the NBA decided graduate attributes for engineering, for management, for pharmacy, MTech, etc. Now, action verb here again the philosophy is action verbs. Action verbs are used to write intended program outcome, intended, because we want it. Student ne keh raha hai, we want it that action verbs are used to write intended program outcomes. The student has to prove and demonstrate on program completion, right? Thus indicating the same guidelines which were specified in the case of course outcome, they will be taken for program outcome. So action verb, now here where is the beauty? Now then the question arises, how do we map, take our course outcomes and program outcomes? Here there is a trick. Please use the action verbs which you had used in course outcome, which are similar to what program outcome verbs are. If you are writing your own program outcomes, then you can decide the correspondence or similarity between action verbs occurring in the course outcomes and similar action verb or same action verb occurring in the program outcomes. So program outcomes also give indication to the level of skills with which the student imbibe. That means if you want to emphasize HOTS, then use action verbs like analyze, evaluate, and create. Action verbs are psychomotor and affective domains, imbibe other skills. Now please see here, this is again, the central issue is the Bloom verbs. They give us the hint, what's to be done, how it's to be done, and so on. So now just recall, graduate attributes which NBA specifies are engineering. Let's take example of engineering. There are 12 graduate attributes. That means these are the qualities which I want my students to imbibe, inherit when he completes a 4-year program. For example, engineering knowledge, he should be good in problem analysis, design and development. Now please, there are 12. Please see here, first 5, they are discipline. Engineering discipline. Now another thing I want you to keep in mind, remove engineering knowledge and put the word pharmacy. Remove the engineering knowledge word and put the management knowledge, management discipline knowledge. Don't you think these first 5, they are concerning the discipline? It could be any discipline. Since NBA has specified, that's why they are using, and these are for engineering. Then let's look at next, engineer and society, environment, sustainability. Now here, these are concerning the society and environment. ये selfish नहीं है, सिर्फ बच्चे को पढ़ना ही नहीं है. Student has to be able to be caring, concerned about the environment, whatever solutions student find, engineer find, then a society, then look at the next 5, next 3, they are individual. Now next 4, they are individual. Ethics, concerning human being, individual and team, individual, communication skills, individual, lifelong learning, individual. So group 3 indicates that the attribute should be such that student learns not only knowledge, but he imbibes human values, human skills also. And he becomes a lifelong learner. I'll talk with you lifelong learner, because many times faculty members find, what does it involve? Then project management and finance. And depending upon what kind of program it is, project management, project may be the, let's say, technical project may be self-management project, self-time management, our skill management, our stress management, health management. See, project management involves these things. And finance, concerning the management of money, between limited scale, depending upon where we are. So please see here, the graduate attribute have been specified in such a way that an individual becomes a complete or a holistic person. Maybe if he's engineering, maybe he's farming, or so on. That's what the beauty of outcome-based education is. It tries to make a student a holistic student because it teaches those things. Now, Bloom taxonomy action verbs for writing POs, again, They are the same, which I have discussed with you. Now, just recall, this is just a quick recall. Look at these graduate attributes and program outcomes which NBA gives. Now, in the first apply, which is PO1, this is the program outcome 1, apply. Compare it with the Bloomberg. Problem analysis, identify, formulate. These are again Bloomberg. Then conduct investigative complex analysis, and so on, design. So the reason I am giving this example is that the program outcome, learning outcome, has also been devised, has also been written with the help of Bloom taxonomy works. Now look at this. Individual and teamwork, it is affective domain. Individual and teamwork is affective domain. That means the communication is again affective domain. Lifelong learner is again affective domain, because we look at our values, we look at our beliefs, we look at how we work among others, how we live in family, and so on. So program outcomes, they have already been written in such a way so that the Bloom taxonomy essentials are built into them with the help of Bloom words. That's how the program learning outcome look like. And when I say lifelong learning क्यों important है? आजकल के टाइम में, you know, the life is becoming project based. कोई भी काम हो project based होता है. अब every project will involve different skills, every project will involve different kind of learning, and so on. So the objective of the, let's say, BTech or a pharmacy or any program should be lifelong learner. That means student should have developed the habit of learning herself or himself, should be independent thinker, and so on. Now, this is possible only if we train the student accordingly. Mind you, we don't make engineers. We train students to become engineers. Please, I repeat, we don't make them engineers. We give them the inputs, knowledge, skills, etc., which enable them to become engineers in the real life. Now, here I am as a part of the student, I am making him a lifelong learner and expressing it with the help of learning outcomes. अब आप देखोगे कि lifelong learning इतनी ज़्यादा course outcome में कम आती है, लेकिन program outcome में बहुत ज़्यादा है. क्यों? Because course outcomes, if you want it, you can include it depending on the kind of assignment that you give. But here we are imbibing that, and then we will assess it also. Now, please appreciate that outcome-based education enables the student to be holistic learner, holistic worker, and this is indicated clearly in the program learning outcome. You can write your own, but now at present, we are adopting what NBA has given us, and then writing our course outcomes which enable us to achieve these things. So why do we do all these things? Not only this, see, again, student learning outcome helps student learn more effectively. Student को पहले ही पता होता है, होना चाहिए. Make clear what students should expect from their education experience, educational course. And encourage students to be intentional learners who direct and monitor their own learning. Please see here, it is not there in the traditional system. Helps faculty design courses, curriculum and programs. Make graduates' skills and knowledge clear to employers, accrediting agencies. अब नोट करिए, अगर आपके एम्प्लॉयर को पता है कि these students have been trained using these kind of techniques, this kind of syllabus, this kind of assessments, they will know that these students have imbibed those qualities which we said in the program outcomes. So, SLO, student learning outcome, conveys stakeholders. Parents को पता है मेरा student क्या learn करेंगे. Employer को पता है मेरे ये student किस तरह के हैं, and so on. So, and then we will publish it. Now those who have undergone accreditation, Writing program outcomes in the office of the head of department or in the lab is mandatory. Why it is mandatory? So that students and teachers know what are the learnings that are going to be here. It's not that they will be they will be, only know at the end. They will know from the beginning. So what knowledge, skill, abilities that students should gain. Now, then the linkages between COs and POs. Now here, I have already explained earlier also, just look at the verbs occurring in both COs and POs. So demonstrate, like say, that's how you're going to establish links between them. And now, then let us look at, after having links, how do you do the mapping? Mapping of COs and POs, because POs are the consolidated learning and COs are the components. Mapping is the process of establishing linkages, relationships, correlations, and dependencies among dependent entities like syllabus, course, what is to be done, and so on. So mapping is a technique for that. Bhupender ji, I can go till 11:30?
Sir, as you wish, sir, we have no problem.
नहीं, participant the response किए.
So, sir, we have planned.
Sir, sure, you may, sir, you may please.
Okay, no, there is no reason I'm asking is because I lost 15 minutes. वो तो मैं ला ही सकना.
जी.
Okay. I hope, friends, you are liking it.
Yes, sir. It's a good interactive session. Please continue, sir.
Now, let's say, why do we do mapping? We do mapping. Course outcomes and program outcomes, or PEOs or PO, helps in identifying program strengths. Now, depending upon how you have written the program outcomes, whether they are corresponding to higher levels of Bloom taxonomy, or they are lower level or middle level, that gives the idea about what is being emphasized in the institution and where the institution and the faculty is focusing for the education of the students. Program strength, mapping se pahले. Program gaps, student learning outcome currently not addressed or addressed minimally. ऐसा होता है, हम लोग सिलेबस 5 साल, कई यूनिवर्सिटी 15 साल रिवाइज नहीं होता है. Society goes on changing. Now, where are the gaps? We are teaching traditional program outcome. We are teaching traditional syllabus. Society has changed. Industry has changed. How do we do that? So that's where, if we follow the system of program outcome, learning outcomes, then it brings out a gap. आपने ये किया है, ये नहीं किया है. Please do this thing. That is, fill up the gap. Then assessment measures. See, as I mentioned earlier, you may have another session on assessment measures, but assessment is appropriately for what you want to assess. Now, and that assessment data is to be made available to the stakeholders. Let me give you an example. So I want to assess the thinking skills of the student, his team working as a project team member, or his problem-solving skills. No examination can tell us. Then only we can use rubrics. So rubrics, when used to assess these intangible skills, is a very powerful tool to help the student to learn better and better. And that comes out when we do mapping. We'll see that also. Estimation, then attainments. So you decide, how do we look at the continuous improvement? See, outcome-based education, one of the basic principles of outcome-based education, our goal is for continuous improvement. How can I make improvement if I cannot measure it? So remember, measurement is a process of assessing the attainment. And attainment improvement is the goal of outcome-based education. And this is possible when I can assess course outcome, program outcome, and I can map them. आपको सैंपल का में देखनी है, ये मैंने एक आपको दिया है रेफरेंस. So I will just move on, emphasizing that mapping is a very powerful tool. Let's look at an example. Suppose we have a course on electromagnetic theory. The course outcome, program outcome, and Bloom taxonomy. What I am trying to demonstrate is that Bloom taxonomy is a central thread between these learning outcomes. So let us say we have a course outcome, ability to analyze the concept of vector analysis in electromagnetic theory. This may not be liked by pharmacy student, but please appreciate here there is a verb use analyze. And this analyze verb occurs in PO1. There's a correspondence. And PO analyze is a level 4. That's it. We are emphasizing as a faculty that students should be good in being able to analyze various concepts, vector analysis. And this is what our PO1 demands, mathematics oriented. The ability to investigate and analyze the concept of electrostatic and magnetic fields. Now here the verbs are investigate and analyze. They occur in PO1 and PO2. And here Bloom taxonomy C4. Right? And C4 is, remember, understand, apply. Again, C4 is analyze. That's why it's C4. Ability to relate and evaluate the concept of electromagnetic transmission and analysis. Please see here, PO1 and PO11. PO11 is what? Evaluation. C6 and A2. A2 is affective domain. Relate and evaluate. Relate, right? So PO11, I think is, I just don't recall, but it connects with that. Now, here is another example of mapping. Suppose you prepared a course outcome for let's take a programming course Java. And please here, you want to incorporate cognitive and affective learning. Psychomotor learning may not be important in this case because programming, why affective learning? Helping each other. Understanding the difficulties of others. Trying to guide others. Effective learning. So in this case, we find that this is possible. So we prepare the course outcomes using the verb interpret, express, determine, and then the corresponding Bloom taxonomy levels, and then the corresponding program outcomes. Please see here. This is the beauty. Now, if I look at this, immediately anybody can see that this course is trying to emphasize these aspects of student learning. We want to make them a good team player. Where does he learn that? We want them to make, let's say, कोई student difficulty में है, कि student को कुछ चाहिए, and so on. And PO, of course, which I just said. So mapping of CO and PO is important. Now, please see here, there may be possibility where CO, PO, they relate with each other quite a bit, especially where the verbs are common. Then, as a mathematical description, it's only a convention, कोई rule नहीं है. We indicate that there is a substantial correlation between these CO and PO, and indicate either with numeric as 3. It's only a, please remember, empirical way of relating things and then making computation. Numerical इसलिए है computation करनी है बाद में. Because when I say attainment, then attainment and then improvement, that would indicate that I am using numeric number, maybe let's say 10%, 30%, 80%. So if there is a moderate connection, then we say 2. If there is just touching, then we say slight. If there is no connection, we say 0. This is only a convention, I'm repeating it. So prepare these. You have prepared course learning outcomes. You had the program outcome from NBA or from your own. Then try to map these things. And the mapping technique is, as I have just put it before you. Now, this mapping is for one course. And PO consists of maybe 30 courses, 40 courses. So map these for all the program outcomes, for all the courses. I take an example of engineering, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Then these are the, the mapping is to be demonstrated like this. Then, so just to sum up, outcome-based assessment framework demands that design of course outcome be such that they are closely linked with POs and enable their attainment. Which CO will contribute to which PO, look for action work, or look for similar action work, or there is a match, implies close collaboration, and so on. It's just a sum up of what I have done it. Now come here again in testing. Now see, when you are doing mapping, then I find the mapping, many of the institutions, they do not know the mapping, or the mapping is poor, maybe 2, 3, or 4 at the most. And some of the faculty institutions show mapping of every course to every PO. That's also wrong. It cannot be. Now I illustrated to you that how the engineering courses, when they are mapped, they will do mapping to maximum number of POs. For example, data analysis is a mathematics, interpretation, it is analysis, and it is lifelong learning. It includes maybe 6, 7 of these things. Design, learning from failure, it includes lifelong learning, and so on. So please see here, if you just, I'm not able to go to more detail on this because of time constraints, but if you look at this, if you apply your thinking for a while, you will find the engineering lab outcome or the professional, any profession, in fact, even pharmacy, course outcome will map to a large number of program outcomes. And that's what you wanted. Mapping means the student is learning those things. These are connected with those things. And once your goal is to achieve POs, and the maximum number of POs is gained with the help of lab courses. So I've just given you an outline of this, and then also from it gives many benefits, achievement of POs. Course instructor will be fully aware of other courses in which students achieve similar outcomes and plan their syllabi to reinforce outcomes. Course prerequisite and program outcome can be decided. A program map makes explanation of curriculum changes more transparent. जब कोई course change करना है, तो अगर mapping नहीं हो रही है, it indicates that course is not contributing to the program outcomes. If there is no relation, that means we should include that component in our curriculum, or we should change our mapping so that what I want a student to be learned is embedded into my course. An outcome map is a useful tool in program review to show the logic and overall design of a program and capture the relevance of his course. We see here, mapping is extremely important when it comes to the assessment and evaluation of our program. So remember, preparing learning outcome is a process, not an event. It's a continuous process. The faculty is involved, other stakeholders, maybe industry, depending on the environment, industry, other higher learning institutions, they are involved in this, and a team of the department which teaches these courses, they are continuously looking at these things. Many of you will raise the issue, sir, universities make that. We are in the initial stages. as we develop and you become autonomous, that's what also the emphasis of new education policy is. You will be able to do it yourself. So then the mapping and attainment of course program. Mapping helps us to look at the attainment and improvement of program outcomes. Now here I will just quickly go through this, then we will have a session on question answer. Now prepare, for example, course outcomes. Then prepare these things. It is just an outline. I won't be able to go into detail. Then mapping of COPOs, which you have talked earlier. Then the artificial metrics, again the same thing. Then assessment tools for evaluation of COs, direct assessment tools, internal assessment tools. Then we have defined a target, what kind of achievement we wanted. Students, we wanted 70%, 80%, and so on. In fact, this is given in the NBA booklet also. We will look at there. And then setting out attainment levels. That means we want over 60%, 70%, 80%, and so on. So course outcome attainment calculation can be done like this. So with this, then targets, university exam is there. You will look at that. The course attainment. I think I will stop it here and then look at the questions. This I know I have the last stage I have given very quickly because I want to discuss some of the issues which you may be having it, and this maybe will be covered in more detail in some other session also. Okay, thank you. Anji Bilwinder ji.
Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful session. So now I think our platform is open for question and answer. Participants, you are open to write any query in the chat box.
Please do feel.
Sir, meantime, I want to ask one small query.
Please.
Sir, when we are going for POs which are not very discipline specific as you have classified, so what are means contributions of these subjects towards those POs? So, or what are other ways to achieve those POs?
Now see, POs becomes a reference point. And the way, let us say NB has written POs for us. They become the reference point.
Yes.
So with that as a reference point, we design our curriculum. For example, it says that there should be a lot of emphasis on lifelong learning, which means we should try to include those courses where there are assignments of that type, like a project, right? Or project-based learning. Next is, suppose you are preparing your own program outcome. Let us take an example, supposing NBA doesn't give it for MSc. Now in MSc, you as an institution, as a faculty, decide what you expect students to gain out of this MSc. You want it to be theoretical MSc or an experimental based MSc. The moment you decide this thing, then you start writing POs. After what are POs? POs are only saying take the discipline, take the concerns of the individual, take the concern of the society. जैसे मैंने आपको example दिया. अच्छा, now based on that, now when I say affective domain, सर आपने affective domain हम लोग कैसे build करेंगे engineering courses में? ठीक है ना? Now this indicates that the project that we are giving should have a lot of collaboration among the students. The project that we are giving should have a lot of independent thinking, which means we decided a student has to imbibe these qualities and accordingly we prepare the curriculum, then the implementation, and then the assignment, etc. So there is a linkages between what we want, what we had decided. Because remember, POs are intended. What we had decided, how we have decided, will be dependent on that. Now, this is again a purely a faculty-based decision. इसका कोई भी rule नहीं है. For example, what I do, it may not suit you. Supposing I keep my level of student at, let us take a illustration, second or third. A college will have the third lower level, first, second, or third level. But a university will focus on 4, 5, 6 levels. The moment you think of 4, 5, 6 levels, you have to have a focused curriculum. You have to have a focused, let's say, teaching techniques, facilities, infrastructure, and so on. So once having decided that this is what I want for my students, you decide the other parameters.
Yes.
Does it satisfy your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very right.
कोई बात नहीं, और दोस्तों.
Sir, there are some queries from the participants in the chat box.
Please.
There is one first query. What should be the minimum score of PO or CO?
Score क्या मैंने I didn't get it.
So I think, sir, the participant wants to ask about the attainment score.
Then now if you have the time, I will go to the last, which I skipped very quickly. I can go there and then discuss that.
Sir, please.
Eh?
Yes, sir, please, please. Even
Sure.
there are 2 or 3 more queries regarding the attainment calculation. So it will be better.
ठीक है, right. अब देखो, there is a question, what would be the minimum score of POs and COs? Now, there is no rule like this. आपसे, let us say, it's again a relative. अच्छा, एक और आप share करें. Supposing we decide the attainment level, let's say 70%. And next year it comes 65%. Next year it comes 60%. No one will say क्यों. They will, outcome based education says कि अगर ये है तो मेरे को reason बता दो. Now see the point. A positive slope or a negative slope, we try for positive slope, but if it comes a negative slope, we say, okay, you tell me the reasons why you have not been able to achieve this thing. What was lacking? Was your syllabus too difficult? Were your facilities not adequate? Were your students, what you got last year batch was very good, this year not good? Were the students who were being sent for employment, they were easily shunted out? And so on. Ab dekho, negative outcome-based education says that you have to explain why I am good. You have to explain why I am not good. You know the beauty of this thing? Supposing I say I am not good, but I am trying to be good, 10 upon 10 milega. See, improvement. Goal is improvement. Now I say, I was, let's say, last 80%, 85, 90, 95. Okay, good. Now tell me, why is it so? What are the techniques and processes that you adopted which helped you to improve positive slope continuously? Let us share it with others. अब सोचो कि मेरा उल्टा हो गया. अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं. अब मेरे को बताओ ये क्यों हुआ? See, here the teacher, faculty are very intelligent community. Now the moment I say it happened because of this, okay, accept. Then I will ask as an expert, give me the reasons. ऐसा क्यों हुआ? तुम्हें मालूम था कि ये हम लोग डाउन जा रहे हैं. What action have you taken? If you have not taken any action, you fail. But if you have taken action, you pass. See, there is no rule like this. कि ये 10% ये है, we decide ourselves. We decide ourselves कि ऐसा होना चाहिए. अच्छा, अब देखिए इसमें टीचर की अकाउंटेबिलिटी आ गई. If my class is not doing well, मैंने कहा भी देखो, you were given a facility to design the course, everything. You design the course outcome. You decide everything. My benchmark was program outcome. You have not been able to achieve. Please demonstrate that. It is not only the student demonstrate, it is also the faculty demonstrate. Because they are all intended. अगर मैंने कहा मैंने इंस्टीट्यूट में प्रॉमिस किया मैं ये कर दूंगा, हमने कहा मान लिया कर दो, अच्छा जब नहीं किया तो मेरे बताओ क्यों नहीं किया. That's where the beauty of this system lies. These are intended outcomes. Good, go ahead. Intended to fulfill this intended outcome, design this curriculum, design this course outcome. Here is the infrastructure. Here is everything. That's it. So when the question is, what is the minimum score? There is nothing like a minimum score. These are again guidelines. Guidelines are these, how do we decide these things? Okay? I will go back to that and then show it. Any other question, please? Can you explain indirect tools used for calculation of COs, POs? Now, indirect tools are, for example, surveys, feedback. These are the indirect tools. Now, we have the feedback maybe in the case of a course outcome. We have the feedback after the course is complete. Now, it again depends institution. If the course is complete, it may be regarding the learning, it may be regarding the infrastructure, it could be regarding the teaching method, it could be regarding the assessment method, and so on. So this is the feedback. The feedback is a indirect tool, and direct tools are like examination is one of them. Internal assessment is another one. They are traditional. हम लोग discard कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are only building into that, over and above that, something which was not there. जैसे मान लो अब हम लोग rubric use करते हैं. Rubric क्यों use करते हैं? Because we want that simply leaving students that you are a good problem solver is not adequate. We will assess you and find out how much you have improved. First year में तुम्हारी capability ये थी, second year में ये है, third year that means you have improved. Very good. So you have improved. That's what we want to see here. So please appreciate one thing. There is the university examination. They give us the guideline. Have it like this. If you deviate from that and demonstrate it, there is nothing wrong with that. We stop the screen presentation during live session. ये क्या हुआ?
So I think the intent is that during discussion we may stop the slide.
अच्छा वो रुका हुआ है? It's on?
It's on. So maybe.
Oh, sorry, friends. Okay, now अगर time है चलें उस पर?
Yes.
Now see here. Now look at this. First of all, if you want to look for the attainments, please prepare a course outcome like this, statements. I will go slowly on this so that participant can appreciate these things. Learning outcome statements are prepared following Bloom taxonomy. आप देखिए जो हमने वहाँ डिस्कस किया था वो सारा इसमें यूज होगा. Course outcome are mapped to program outcome as shown in the next slide. Now here is the mapping. I shared with you the mapping, numerical numbers. Now please see here. This table gives estimation of each of POs for one course. This table gives estimation of each of POs for one course. क्योंकि एक कोर्स है ना, एक कोर्स को सब PO में मैप करना है. अब ये देखो CO1 जो मैंने लिया है, it is mapping on 5. And you know what is PSOs? Program specific outcomes. Now I'm sure you have been exposed to this thing, but just again to give you an idea. Now see here, if you look at the graduate attributes, there is nowhere is mentioned कि ये मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग है, सिविल इंजीनियरिंग है या एनवायरमेंटल इंजीनियरिंग है, कोई लिखा हुआ है? No. That means they are generic. I want to use the same for mechanical engineering. And in mechanical engineering also, there may be a numerical control, there may be other mechatronics there, and so on. So when I design the program outcomes for my specific discipline, they become program specific. That's where you are to design these using Bloom taxonomy. So generally, these are 2 to 3, depending upon how much you want it to be different. So program specific outcomes are those which are relevant specifically to the program under discussion, under consideration. So see here I've taken PSCO 1 to 3, that's how it is done. Then prepare table 3, program articulation metrics for all courses. For all courses. Now let us say you have 30 courses, you have to prepare 30. You use for this Microsoft Excel sheet. With the help of Excel sheet, you can do. In fact, some software are also available which help us in this. Those who are interested may just let me know. We can spend a few minutes on that separately. See here, you please see that here these are the articulation metrics for all the courses. We have prepared this. Then now the assessment tools, because assessment tools will be relevant to get the numbers. The direct assessment tools are the end term examination, then internal assessment, midterm exam, tutorial, assignments, class test. These are all what we have been doing already. Now, what becomes important is indirect assessment tool, course exit survey and feedback. Now, in internal assessment, when I'm saying lab tests, is a traditional one, but the lab test, when I do it according to outcome-based principle, then it will be more complex. Now, defining a target achievement of COs. How do we define these things? Abhi ek question tha. How do we define the target of achievement of CO? See, इसके लिए दो options हैं. Target definition, that's case A. Target may be stated in terms of percentage of students getting more than university average marks or more in the final examination. Please see here. Now, यहाँ पर university जो average है आपके particular program की particular course, I am talking about course outcome, please. जैसे मान लीजिए course outcome में thermodynamics है, तो एक तो option ये है, target may be stated in terms of percentage of students getting more than university average marks in the final exam. This is called student number based. Case B. Target may be stated in terms of percentage of marks. That means कई बार क्या है मेरे 80% स्टूडेंट जिसे आएंगे, कई बार क्या है मेरे 80% स्टूडेंट के मार्क्स इस हिसाब से आएंगे. Target may be stated in terms of percentage of marks obtained by students in the final exam. This is performance based. So we have the target definition in terms of student number based and performance based. Achievement is measured in terms of actual percentage of students. Please see here. Achievement is measured in terms of actual percent of students meeting the target. That is getting preset percentage marks in case A or preset percentage student in case B. Now please, now this is your own choice. You say आप कहते हैं मैं 70% लिखना चाहता हूँ. देखो ना NBA 3 साल का डेटा मांगती है या आप 75% रखना चाहते हैं. लोग 60% भी रखते हैं, लेकिन उसमें जो experts हैं, when we go there, we say no, it's no good. If for engineering course you are having 60%, जबकि 60% उनका pass percentage होता है, this means the implementation of the principles of outcome-based education are not being taken care of properly. So you said, now that is इस साल आपने 60 किया, फिर या 70 किया, 75 किया, 80 किया, ठीक है? या percent student, my 80% student will get so many marks, my 85% student will get so many marks, 90% student will get so many marks. So this is how we assess it, and that's now what criteria you is up to the institution. So setting up a target attainment level for all courses. How do we set up these things? Setting a target attainment level. Case A. Student number based. Student number based target attainment level 1. 60% students scoring more than university average percentage in the final exam. Right? This is a target level A. Attainment level 2. 70% students scoring more than university average percentage in the final exam. Target attainment level 80% scoring more than university average in the final exam. Please see here. ये तो case A है. Case B में, which is a performance based, for any given program, department decide as follows. Please see here again. It is a department prerogative. 70% students get at least 60% marks in the final examination. We call attainment level 1. 70% students get at least 70% marks in the final examination. Attainment level 2. 70% students get at least 80% marks in the final examination. Attainment level 3. अब देखिए ये हमने decide किया है. Right? As a faculty, as a department. Then course outcome attainment calculation. How do we do this thing? Attainment through direct assessment. क्योंकि दो method assessment के, direct है और indirect है. Say पहले direct में क्या है? Say target attainment through internal assessment, midterm exam, test, presentation, assignments, etc. We will give it 2. This will be that is moderate 2. आपको याद है मैंने substantial moderate किया था. We give number 2. Then target attainment through external exam, we give, if it is 2, we say it's a moderate. Attainment through indirect assessment, say target attainment through course exit survey, let's give it 3. Now again it's a choice. अब मैंने यहाँ पर exit survey में ज़्यादा कर दिया, मुझे पता ज़्यादा नंबर आएंगे इसमें, लेकिन ये justify करना पड़ेगा. Then setting up target attainment level for course, this is to be done for all courses. Again illustration. Total number of students in a class institute enrolled for course, let's say 120. Average mark obtained by all students in the university. Then total number of students, and so on. So these calculations are to be done by looking at the university. And then compare it with this, what we had decided here. Yeah, देखो ना यहाँ 74% है, 71% है, या 87%. ये मैंने एक यूनिवर्सिटी के सिस्टम से लिया था. एंड देन यू सी 71%, 80%. देखिए यहाँ पर नंबर स्टूडेंट 87% है, 71% है, 74% को मैं कह रहा हूँ मॉडरेट है. 70 ना, क्योंकि हो सकता है 65 वालों को फेल गिनता. मॉडरेट है, ये भी मॉडरेट है, ये सब्सटेंशियल है. देन कोर्स कैलकुलेशन अटेनमेंट, फाइनल कोर्स अटेनमेंट, लाइक दिस. So overall attainment of the course, including both internal and external, both are included. Assume exam 80% direct को देते हैं हम लोग and 20% survey indirect. 80% direct but 20% indirect. So out of 80%, 50% are for university exam and 20% for internal assessment. So 50% direct assessment plus 30% direct internal assessment plus 20% this thing, that's the moderate level. That means it comes 2.2, which is nearly 2, we'll say attainment is moderate. Please see here how these things are being taken into account. Then assessment tools for evaluation of POs are direct assessment tools, average POs and PSO obtained from COPO attainment, direct. Indirect is program, exit survey, feedback, parents feedback, employers feedback, stakeholders, and so on. So then this is the illustration. I think I will just, this may become too much, but if you wish, we can discuss it also. Suppose outcomes of 4 courses are these things, and then we say overall attainment and etc. That's how we are able to calculate these things. Yes, please. Now बताइए question बताइए. I know कि ये तो थोड़ा इस पर है ना, we have to take these step by step. तो इसमें थोड़ा सा different तरह का time scale चाहिए. But that's how the overall attainment is carried out.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So there is one more query, that how many maximum COs we should keep for one course?
How many COs we should keep one course? 5 to 6.
5 to 6. Yeah.
Anji.
Okay, sir. With this,
देखो मैं बताऊँ आपको, ये एक थंब रूल है. ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब आप स्टेट कर देंगे तो कहे गलत है. कोई भी गलत कहेगा. This is what the institution is doing.
yes. So with this, I think we are towards the end of the session. So now I invite our activity person Bill to propose both of these.
Professor Grover, on behalf of the organizers as well as the participants. I would like to give you my heartfelt thanks. It was a very informative session, and we would keep on hoping that you'll continue to support us in future also in our courses, because this is the first time I have been listening to your lecture also, but it was worthwhile, and the questioning by the participants says it all. Thank you, sir, for sparing your time.